Welcome to the People Relations Podcast, the podcast series brought to you by People Relations HR Consulting, where we talk with business and HR leaders around the globe. In each episode, we will discuss exclusive insights, strategies, and advice to help you make better people decisions in your business. For show notes and incredible bonus resources, simply visit www.peoplerelations.com.au. Okay, let's get started. In this episode, we will explore how the last 2 years have created lasting changes to the way we work, and I will also share the 7 trends that will shape the future of work. So we can confirm that the last 2 years' sudden shift to remote work was a great disruption for all the businesses globally. We are in the move to hybrid work, which is a blended model where employees work some days from their home and some other days from the workplace, from the offices. So we are all learning as we go, but we have learned 2 things for sure. Flexible work is here to stay, and the talent landscape has fundamentally shifted. Remote work has created new job opportunities for some. It had offered more family time and provided options for whether or when to commute. But there are also some challenges ahead. The teams have become more siloed this year, and digital exhaustion is a real and unsustainable threat. So we have over 40% of the global workforce that are considering to leave their job this year. So a thoughtful approach to hybrid work is critical for attracting and retaining diverse talents. So to help organizations through the transition, I'll be sharing some data from findings from a study of more than 30,000 people in 31 countries. So it's quite global, and it includes an analysis of trillions of productivity and labor signals across Microsoft 365 and LinkedIn. So those 2 big companies, global companies. It does also include perspectives from experts who have spent decades studying collaboration, social capital, and space design at work. So the 7 trends are: number 1, flexible work is here to stay. So employees wants the best of both worlds, and there is over 70% of workers who want flexible remote work options to continue. So the data is very clear. Extreme flexibility and hybrid work are going to define the post-pandemic workplace. So it is important to highlight that even after a year of working from home, there is half of the respondents say that they lack essential office supplies at home, and 1 in 10 don't have an adequate internet. So last year's move to remote work boosted also feelings of inclusion for workers because everyone was in the same virtual room, and this move to hybrid work is breaking the mold, and it will be a new and important objective to ensure employees are given the flexibility to work when and where they want, as well also to have the tools they need to equally contribute from wherever they happen to be. So there is a big portion there that say that their employers do not help them with remote work expenses. So I think this is a good space to be focusing on. Another trend that we've observed is that leaders are a bit out of touch with employees, and they may need a bit of a wake-up call. There is a good percentage of the leaders in the survey that I wouldn't say majority, but around 60% are thriving right now. They also report building stronger relationship with colleagues and leadership, earning higher incomes, and taking vacation days. But on the other hand, we've got some workers that feel the disconnect, especially those that are frontline workers, women, or in the generation set, that is those that are born late to the 90s and the early 2010s, or is people from 18 years old to 25, those that are starting their career. So we see that these groups are struggling the most or have been struggling the most for the past 2 years. Another trend that we've noticed is high productivity, which is masking an exhausted workforce. In the survey, half of the respondents were feeling overworked, and a good percentage, close to half of them as well, were feeling exhausted. So the digital intensity that we have in our days has increased considerably. And there is an average number of meetings and chats steadily increasing since last year, because obviously there is not the opportunity to get together at the office and have these conversations. So all workers across the globe are feeling the pressure to keep up. There is meetings and chats overload, and with these, half of the respondents were saying that they respond to the Teams chats, for instance, Microsoft Teams, within 5 minutes or less of receiving messages from their colleagues. Another aspect in trend that we've noticed is that the Generation Z is at risk and will need to be re-energized. So we were saying these workers that are starting their career, starting to work, those from ages of 18 and 25 years old, the majority say that they're merely surviving or flat out struggling right now. This generation is more likely to be single and early in their careers, as I was saying, and making them more likely to feel the impacts of isolation or struggle with motivation at work, or they can sometimes lack the financial means to create proper workplaces at home, to get a work environment like a desk and a proper space to do the job. So they are reporting that they're more likely to struggle balancing work with life as well, and to feel exhausted after a typical day of work when they are compared with older generations. So they have reported difficulties feeling engaged or excited about work, and also getting a word during meetings and bringing new ideas to the table. So we have to ensure that this generation feels a sense of purpose and well-being. This is urgent in the shift to hybrid, is something organizations will need to be focusing on, because new generations offer fresh perspectives and challenge the status quo. Their contributions are critical, and as the first generation to start their jobs in a completely remote environment, the experience will set expectations and attitudes towards work moving forward. So people will be wanting specific things, and companies will have to reconsider this when trying to become an employer of choice, when making efforts to become an employer of choice, and also when wanting to attract talent. Another trend that we've noticed is the shrinking networks, which are putting in danger what is the innovation. There's been lots of discussion about this, and the analysis have shown that the interactions with our close networks at work have increased, while interactions with our distant networks have reduced, have diminished. So this tells us that as we shifted into lockdowns, and people working more from home, we held on tightly to our immediate teams for support, but we let our broader network fall to a side. You can think of examples for people that can do more networking, attend to more networking events, and but instead we have closing that gap in access to the most immediate colleagues. So companies have become more siloed than they were before the pandemics, and And while the interactions with our close networks are still more frequent than they were before the pandemic, the trend shows us that even these close team interactions have started to diminish over time. So as all companies are trying to balance a mix of in-person and remote teams, it will be very important to remember that remote work makes for more siloed teams. Another trend that we've identified is that authenticity is what will motivate productivity and well-being. So as people have experienced more stress on the front lines, have to balance childcare and homeschool, they had to work from living rooms. Something has changed, and we believe that is that work has become more human. There were some interesting stats, such as 1 in 5 people have met their colleagues, pets, or families virtually. And probably this has happened in several meetings where children or dog had interrupted the meeting. And 1 in 6 have cried with a colleague this year. This is the surprising stat. So these numbers is even higher for those in industries that were hit the hardest during these times. For instance, education, travel and tourism, healthcare. So these interactions with coworkers may help foster a workplace where people feel more comfortable to be themselves. So compared to 1 year ago, 40% of the people say that they are more likely to be their full, authentic selves at work. So people who interacted with the coworkers more closely than before not only experienced stronger work relationships, but also reported higher productivity and better overall well-being, which is very promising and something that HR leaders have to, same as business owners and business leaders, have to probably try and incentivize. And I'm so excited for this, that be more human, making work more real has of course positive impacts in terms of well-being for people feeling more comfortable, and of course, increasing productivity. And the last trend that we can observe after analyzing the data is that talent is everywhere in a hybrid world, in the sense that, of course, having the opportunity to be able to work from wherever, having the right tools and experience and suitability for the roles makes help us expand our market and be able to hire someone from another country, for instance, or another city, when before we needed them to be based in a specific office space. So this is, I think, one of the brightest sides as well of the shift to remote work. So the talent marketplace being expanded, and remote job postings on LinkedIn have increased as well. I've noticed that more than 5 times during the pandemic, and people are taking notice. So half of the remote workers that were surveyed were planning to move to a new location. So considering to buy a family home or move to a farm or move closer to the parents, or depending on their individual circumstances of the family or the person, because you can work remotely. So people no longer have to leave their desk, house, or community to expand their careers. And this, I think, will have profound impacts on the talent landscape. So with so much change happening, employees are reevaluating priorities, home bases, and the entire lives. So whether it's due to fear networking or career advancement opportunities, this is a new calling. Pandemic struggles. So more people are considering their next move. We've heard about the Great Resignation as well. So I think it's all interlinked. People are wanting a different way of working. Companies are having to offer this new models of working and have to adapt. And I think these trends are very, very useful to keep in mind, to make the most of those positive aspects of the shift we had after or due to the pandemics, and focus on those areas that I think there can be that allow some room for improvement. So I hope you enjoy these 7 trends, and take notes for you to be able to adapt them to your business, to be able to draft the right policies, to be able to think about your employer brand and adapt to the new changes and prepare for the future. I hope you enjoyed our episode. There will be more within the next few episodes regarding hybrid work and how we'll share some tools as well on how to you can adapt this to your workplace. Thank you so much for listening. Until the next one. Thank you for tuning in to the People Relations Podcast. We hope that today's discussion helps you find new ways to make better people decisions within your business. For additional insights and resources, remember to visit our website at peoplerelations.com.au. If you found value in this episode, please like and share the show with your friends who are dedicated to running and growing their businesses. We can't wait to have you back next time for more great conversations. Until then, take care and see you soon.